When taking treks out into the wilderness, you can always make primitive shelters, but modern shelters are so much more convenient. You know, there's a lot of lightweight options that can roll up small enough to even fit in a cargo pocket or a small fanny pack. And the option that we've shown you here is a Cordura tarp. It is, a type of tarp that you can build a long fire next to, which would be a lengthwise fire if you wanted to put out a lot of heat. And it puts out so much heat that you wouldn't necessarily have to bring a sleeping bag if you didn't want to, down to some very low temperatures. And the way that we build this is we just run a trucker's hitch, which is a type of tightening knot. And we lay the tarp over the top, and we, put stakes on all sides, tie them off. We use a taut line hitch in order to tighten those knots down. And the way that we set this up, and there's a million ways you can set it up. I mean, the sky's the limit as far as tarp options are concerned, and the ways that you can hang it over this trucker's hitch. You can do it as a, full kind of A-frame where it covers on both sides and you wouldn't have a fire. Or with this option, what's great about it is that we've got a, storm flap that protects us from the front and catches some of that heat from the fire. And then we also use some of the extra length of the tarp in order to provide a ground mat for us. And the advantage of Cordura over canvas is that canvas is heavier. It's not as resistant to burning. It's not as waterproof as Cordura. And this is 1000D. It's super tough material. You really can't beat it for the money. It costs about half the price of canvas. And there's just so many options that you can use it for. And after we hung it up, in order to just kind of pitch out the backside, this specific tarp doesn't have any tie-off points on the back, but if you get one with tie-off points, it makes it a heck of a lot easier. And when looking for a tarp, you want to make sure that you've got a lot of grommets that you can use to tie in different formations. So Josh, why don't you just tell them a little bit about your time out in the wilderness using these types of setups?
Well, I travel a lot, and as even though I'm a primitive skills specialist, I like to save time, and one of these tarps saves me a lot of time. I can set up for a day or two in an area and carry it with me. I've been staying in one of these for, like he said, the last 10 years. I travel around the country teaching, and it's nice to have a tarp in your backpack just for this reason. You can also just wrap up in the tarp if you start getting rained on without even making a shelter, unless it's cold. But if you're trying to stay dry and heat is not an issue, then you can just wrap up in a tarp and sleep in it. Just make a little face hole. So I've been living in one of these for about 10 years, carrying it around in my backpack. I carry my knife, my saw, a tarp, and cordage. Those are the modern luxuries that I carry with me.